What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Master Rule 5 has officially been revealed. The next Master Rule that is going to take place starting April 1st, 2020 with the release of Rise of the Duelist. We now know everything about it. And man, if you watch Konami's live stream, did you ever get a shock? Because I fully did not expect for this to be revealed. I thought this entire live stream was just going to be talking about the next Yu-Gi-Oh anime, which they did actually show a trailer for, and I'll talk about that in another video. But let's talk about Master Rule 5, because as you guys can look on the field, you're like, Cap G, what the hell is going on here? How in the world does this person have Stardust Dragon and also have Utopia on the field when there are no Link monsters? Guys, for all of you who did not like Link monsters, for those of you guys who under Master Rule 4, you just like the old way of Yu-Gi-Oh! You like being able to summon to the main monster zones with your extra deck cards. Looks like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going back to something very similar to Master Rule 4, because now you're going to have the ability to summon your Synchros, your Fusion, and your XC monsters back to the extra monster zone. This is actually pretty damn amazing for any Yu-Gi-Oh! Player who started playing the game before the Vrains era, because it kind of seems like Konami is going back to essentially Master Rule 3. Let's go ahead and read the exact translation that Yugioh organization posted, because while they did show this off, obviously I can't translate Japanese, so I kind of had to follow what they were saying, or I tried to, interpret it. So let's go ahead and read. As of April 1st, 2020 in the OCG, now this is going to eventually happen in the TCG. We know that all Master Rules that go into effect in the OCG, just a few months later, it's going to hit the TCG. It says Fusion, Synchro, and XC monsters will be summonable to the main monster zone in addition to the extra monster zone. The rules for Pendulum and Link monsters will remain the same. You are not limited to one card or to one of each. When this information first dropped, there was a lot of speculation, a lot of mistranslations and misinformation out there. And again, I am putting a lot of my faith in the translations from Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization, but I think that we can trust these guys. People originally looked at the picture. Obviously, most of us in the TCG are not fluent in Japanese. We can't read Japanese, but people looked at this and they interpreted it as, okay, Cap, so I can only control like one monster of each mechanic. I can have a Synchro, an XC, or a Fusion monster on the field, but no, that is not the case, guys. You can control as many as you want of these three mechanics, essentially going straight back to Master Rule 3. Let me just give you, I guess, some very clear examples. This means that if you were playing a deck like ABC, you'd be able to summon an ABC Dragon Buster to your extra monster zone, to a main monster zone under that, and I don't know, just for a little icing on the cake, a third ABC Dragon Buster to one of your other unoccupied monster zones or main monster zones. And this is insane. I mean, you're going to see so many archetypes, especially the ones from the Arc V era, decks like Burning Abyss. You guys know Burning Abyss, we're used to being able to summon like Triple Dante, but the second that we entered the Vrains era, that just wasn't really an option anymore. And I kind of feel like Konami is going back to this with these three mechanics for a couple of reasons. Number one, when it comes to like the Link Vrains pack, what was the entire point of the Link Vrains pack? The entire point of the Link Vrains pack was to give archetypes Link monsters, archetypes that were basically struggling to find their footing in the Vrains era, archetypes that really couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! The way that they wanted to play anymore. They just were too restricted in Link monsters, so Konami was like, all right, we'll try to make Link monsters that get you back to how you wanted to play. Now you don't even have to worry about that. If you didn't get a Link monster for your archetype, it doesn't matter, because you can just play your archetype how you were playing it before. And it also means that like Konami doesn't have to worry about players kind of whining about extra linking anymore. You guys know extra linking is not a lot of fun to play against. Extra linking is 100% canon because Revolver did it to Playmaker in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. But if your opponent extra linked you and you didn't have a way of breaking it, basically you just like couldn't play the game if you were relying on your extra deck, if you were playing a deck like Fluffles and you got extra linked by, you know, Firewall Dragon or Cyberse or something, you basically couldn't play the game. Now, even if you were extra linked and your opponent has both extra monster zones, if you're playing an Xyz, a Synchro, or a Fusion deck, it honestly doesn't matter at all because you still can just summon your monsters in your main monster zone. So Konami is not only kind of, they're making it so they don't really have to make any more Link Frames booster packs, but they're also kind of fixing the extra link problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is going to kind of give them a little free reign to make cards for a lot of the extra, or make cards for a lot of the popular archetypes that are not being played anymore without having to make link monsters. Like, I'll give you guys a prime example. You know how Konami made all that new Karakuri support and is that Chaos Impact, I believe? Or no, maybe it's Rising Rampage. But you know how we're getting all that new Karakuri support? Hell, it might actually, I think it's in Ignition Assault, I'm sorry. But all that Karakuri support, like, it's really good, but you could argue that it's kind of gonna go to waste because, you know, you can only summon a couple of like synchro monsters. Now, when we go into the next era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, Karakuri are gonna be able to play how they used to play back in 5Ds. I'm talking synchro spam, dropping 1, 2, 3 burritos in a turn. I think that this is going to be an absolutely magnificent change. And think about how many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are going to be playable again. Things like Bahamut Shark that summons totally awesome from your extra deck. Now, you don't got to worry about making a link monster and then still somehow having materials left to make the Bahamut Shark, and then hopefully you have another extra monsters or you have another zone open for your totally awesome. Cards like Ultimaya Tizoken, which, you know, is not really that difficult to summon, and it gets you like a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon from your extra deck. Those cards are going to be playable again. A deck that I honestly think might even be too damn scary is my beloved Lunalights. You guys see what you can do with Lunalights now. Now imagine that Lunalights can just drop Leo Dancer. They don't even need to make those link monsters, because I really don't think Lunalights want to make link monsters. They just kind of have to use them. Now Lunalights can just keep on going. They can Xyz summon for days. They can still drop fusions. They can drop link monsters like Boral Sword Dragon if they need. This is going to be a whole new era of Yu-Gi-Oh, man, and I feel like people were not ready for this. They were not ready to be able basically to go back to Master Rule 3. Now, when it comes to, you know, link monsters, are they still going to have a place in Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes, I think that link monsters are still going to be valuable because, think about it, link monsters are still incredibly impactful because, you know, we have cards like Boral Sword Dragon and Borolo Dragon. We have some incredibly strong link monsters that are very generic. There are a lot of archetypes like Lunalights that cannot just go into, you know, Xyz and fusions, but when you just got a bunch of random monsters on field, link summoning becomes very economical and it just becomes very intuitive. So I don't think that link monsters are going to go anywhere, but I think that they're not going to be 100% necessary. Like, if you're playing a deck like Fluffles and you were running some link monsters just so that you could play Yu-Gi-Oh, outside of cards like Clawfeet, you're probably not going to run link monsters anymore. Now that you can just go back to the old ways of summon Tiger, blow up your opponent's field, you're not really going to be playing fucking link monsters anymore. Another thing is, let's talk about pendulums. This is a mechanic that obviously I don't like very much. Sorry, Triff, if you see this video. I still just don't like pendulums. Konami has decided that they're not going to affect pendulums in any way. To me, this still kind of acknowledges that Konami made a mistake with pendulums. They made the mechanic too strong. And essentially, it looks like, you know, special summoning 5 monsters from the extra deck, like pendulum summoning 5 from the extra deck. It looks like that's just never going to be a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, because Konami, if they really wanted to buff pendulums, if they really wanted to say, all right, guys, you guys missed out on your pin 5 from the extra deck, here, we're going to give it back, like, nah, they didn't do that. So it kind of tells you that Konami still is not in a comfortable position with pendulums. I kind of feel like they're just, pendulum mechanic is going to kind of stay nerfed, which is perfectly fine. We don't need people pendulum summoning like 5 cards from the extra deck. I also thought it was kind of interesting that we were all wondering what the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Mechanic was going to be, with if we were going to get another extra deck summon, if we were going to get skill cards, or if we were going to get deck masters. And Konami didn't give us anything. We are not getting any new mechanic for the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's era. We're going to be playing still the same board, and Konami doesn't have to actually adjust the board. Personally, I'm super fucking excited because every deck from like the Arc V era, I mean, you could kind of say from 5Ds to like Arc V, so many of those archetypes like Boojins and ABC, those decks that were just like, man, I don't really know if I can play this archetype anymore. Fluffles is like a great one. Think about archetypes like Invoked. Now you can just drop like double Merkaba. You don't have to worry about going into the Alistair Link monster. I think this is going to be so fun. And I really want to see what's going to happen when it comes to like the buyouts and stuff. Now, when it comes to that, because I was watching John Moore's stream and he was like, dude, the buyout market is going to be crazy. One thing people have to understand, because I haven't looked on like TCG Player to see what's happening, this is not going to happen. Like, these rules are not going to take place in the TCG, guys, for another 7 months. So people have to, like, you gotta chill before you go spend $100 on Bahamut Sharks, and before you go buy 50 Ultimate Tezokins, before you get a little too carried away. Just understand these are not going to go into place until basically after the NAWCQ. Like, this will be after national season, guys. So we're not going to be playing with these rules until national season. Honestly, I just wish they would put this shit in now. Oh my god, I don't know why. I have the strangest urge to play Fluffles right now under Master Rule 5 and just like spam the board with Fright for Tigers. I think that this is a godsend. I think that Link monsters will still be useful. I think they just won't be necessary anymore. I think that Konami doesn't really have to continue pumping out Link monsters for older archetypes. Like with Karakuri, you don't need to give Karakuri a Link monster now. Fluffles, they've wanted a Link monster for a while. I guess you could say a Fright for Link. You don't need to do that anymore. Frightfurs can just go back to playing the way that they played before, and I kind of feel like it solves a lot of the issues at once. Pendulums are still nerfed, which is good. Fuck that mechanic. And I think that this is the happy medium that everybody's going to like. So you guys tell me what you think of Master Rule 5 in the comment section below. How crazy is this? Yu-Gi-Oh! Just got way better in my opinion. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.